Happy
Well,
Travel Tuesday!
Travel Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday. We're here again with another live episode. So, Lisa, you have to tell everybody where you are.
I am in Los Cabos. I am at the Rio Santa Fe, and this is what my view looks like outside of my balcony that I'm sitting on. Thought I would share it with you guys.
Must be nice.
It's very
I'm
nice.
in Houston, so I had to stay home, keep the home front down while she traveled the world.
Thank you for holding it down for me. I really appreciate that.
I figured you would.
Somebody had to be in charge while Boss Lady was on vacation.
Absolutely.
No, who better than you?
Right. I'm good at
that. What is the weather like in Houston?
Normal Houston weather. It's supposed to rain this week, but it has not. Just hot, normal Houston weather.
I can assure you, this is not normal. This is Hades. It is the desert, and I have sweat more here than I ever have in my entire life. I usually don't sweat. Like, I might glisten slightly. I have sweat more in my entire life. Yes, I have really sweat. Like, I was literally taking a shower for a long time because I really felt like it was still sweat on my body, and it was water.
Wow.
That's how much I was sweating. And I was like, I can't do this. But I mean, I'm getting used to it. It cleared my allergies all the way up. But it's a really huge resort. So I just found out there are 1,600 guest rooms here.
Oh, wow.
1,600. And I also found out they do complimentary COVID testing. And I got tested at 10 this morning, and I got my results already.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, it's really great. And it is an all-inclusive. Yeah, we leave tomorrow. So it is an all-inclusive. And we have been to a few of the restaurants, and they're really good. They're really nice. We did go to the beach. It is not swimmable, and they are very serious. There is a Ryu person right at the edge of the water. And when you take one step too far, they blow the whistle and say, hey, come back.
Oh, they won't let you in the water. So it's not.
No, they will not.
Okay.
It is not. There's a red flag up.
Oh,
and yeah, but it's really, really pretty. I got close enough to like get a nice video. You could hear the water and everything. I was about 10 feet away from it, but that's as close as they would allow you to get. But it was the waves are very violent, so I understand. Like it sounds like thunder slapping up against the shore.
Yeah, we don't want to drown, so that's good. Don't want to do that.
Definitely.
So what is the temperature? I have two questions for you before we announce our guest. What is the actual degrees there?
Do you 96.
Know? So it's about Texas weather.
Yes.
And
it's just dry.
Give the hotel that you're staying at a rating 1 to 5 on the Lysa scale. Lysa the Boss Lady scale.
Oh, I think it's a 4. It's a 4. I think it was rated a 4. Or 3.5 or 4, but I agree. A lot of people were telling me about this hotel, which is another reason that I come and do things myself, because when people tell me, this was horrible, this was that, they were telling me, this is a low budget hotel, it's cheap, it's not, the food's not good, and everything like that. But that's not the case. The food is really good. The only bad experience that I had was the COVID test, because there were people that were walking in front of me and they were talking to the workers in Spanish and they were cutting in line. And so we sat outside in the heat for an hour before I said, hey, you know what? No, la línea está aquí. And I went, it's back there. And they were like, oh, and I was like, yeah, it's yeah, go over there. And because I wasn't going to sit there and just, let them keep cutting me. And I was there for an hour. And then one lady still tried to cut me. And I went in front of her and I said, ma'am, she was not here. And I did tell her in Spanish that the line was over there and she chose to stand in front of me. So you guys are going to test me and not her.
Ooh, you give it to them.
And they did, and there was no problem. And they were like, saying that it was starting to be a problem because people were cutting around and they were going in there and cutting in front of people. So
that's not cool.
No, it's not cool.
I don't get excited about the COVID test anyway, but it is what it is.
It wasn't bad.
We get our big shots this week, so
It definitely wasn't bad.
That. Okay, well, I know I've had 2, so I know what they're like. Just not excited. Okay,
So
it's time to introduce our special guest. I'm so excited.
So we have special guest James Ferrara, the president and co-founder of IntelTravel, and he is here to share all his knowledge. We are going to take a really quick commercial break, and we will be right back with the president and co-founder of IntelTravel, Mr. James Ferrara.
Are you looking for ways to take your business to the next level? Well, Houston, we have a solution. The Boss Up Bootcamp is here to help you level up. Join Lisa, the boss lady, and her amazing roster of speakers that will give you the inside scoop on turning your side hustle into multiple streams of income. This is your year to level up, but don't delay. Register now before it's sold out. Visit www.lisathebosslady.com to register for this event and for more information. That's Lysa, Lysa bosslady.com. Remember, you got to be in it to win it. So register today and don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
And we are back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And this is a very special episode where we have special guest, Mr. James Ferrara, the co-founder and president of IntelTravel.com, who is, as you know, is our host agency. Welcome.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, thank you so much for
Yes, thank you so much for agreeing to come on. That's one thing that I love about you. You always make time for us, and you don't get a big head. You know, as big as things get, you help us, and you still make time for us.
Well, maybe sometimes I get a big head, maybe, but I do try to remember, and it's not hard, but I try to remember all the time why we're here and why I'm here. Which is to help people have an incredible time and be business owners in the travel industry.
Absolutely.
I am blessed to say that, I don't need another paycheck. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because of you and because of many other people like you. And if I can help, makes me feel good. So maybe it's a little selfish, but
yeah, but that's a good selfish. I like that. Selfish.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. It's really easy to help others when this is what we're doing. It's easy to go out here and not be worried about counting your paychecks because you're helping someone else.
Yes, absolutely true. And I see you have a boot camp coming up. And
I do.
I just came back from a boot camp, IntelTravel's boot camp at CLIA Cruise 360, which is the annual conference for the cruise industry. And IntelTravel is the only agency conducting its own boot camp within the CLIA Cruise 360 event. So it is part of the CLIA event. And this is a special year for a lot of reasons that we'll probably get into. But typically, CLIA would have about 1,500 agents at this event, which, by the way, interesting fun fact is that in IntelTravel's own conference, we have 3,000 or 4,000 agents attending. So our conference is 2 or 3 times the size of CLIA's, and ours is just for one agency, right? CLIA's for the whole industry. But anyway, this year, CLIA expected a lower attendance. So they built the conference smaller and they sold it out. But there were about 800 and some odd agents there. And in addition to our boot camp, it's interesting to note that over 200 of those 800 agents were IntelTravel agents.
That's awesome.
So a fourth.
Yes,
yeah.
At least, yeah.
And you've been a boot camp at CLIA for a couple of years now, right?
Oh, we had a long tradition at IntelTravel. And what we do is we bring in the suppliers that will not be at the CLIA trade show or part of the CLIA programming. So we're adding to the programming by bringing suppliers like Globus was with us. Universal Theme Parks and Resorts was at this boot camp. Allianz Travel Insurance, several of our vacation partners, American Airlines Vacations, Delta Vacations. So we are additive to the CLIA event. And then we also do our own training and our own support for agents there too. So everyone should go to the CLIA event next year. You know, this year I understand there were all sorts of concerns. I had concerns personally, but I went, and several hundred of our agents went, and it was an amazing event. But next year, everyone should go, and also attend our boot camp the day before.
Oh, we'll be there next year. We were scheduled
where is it
last
next
year.
Where is it next year?
It better be in Canada. Is it in Canada next year?
You know, it has toggled back and forth every, I think, third year. It's in Vancouver, but I don't know. You know, the schedule's been interrupted, so I don't know what the plan is yet for next year.
My feelings
we were already booked for last year when we were supposed to go to Canada, because that was going to be our first time in Canada. We were so excited. We were already booked for our shipping skirt, everything. Oh my gosh.
Well, and if you're going to go to Canada, Vancouver is a great place to go, actually. So.
We've never been, and so we were really, my feelings were very hurt that we didn't get to go, so we didn't go this year.
Listen, Miss Cabo, we're not feeling very sorry for you.
No, we're not.
I haven't been anywhere since November.
Listen,
it's been almost a year.
You're talking to a guy who is on, you know, several planes a week, typically. And it's been 16 months since I traveled really in any real way. And I traveled down to Florida for this event. It really was the first large-scale event in the travel agency industry since COVID. So there were a lot of tender moments. You know, we all kind of shed a tear a little bit to see some of our friends, these executives that I've worked with for years, and we normally see each other multiple times a year at various events. We haven't seen each other for 16 months. You know, some people that you know, famous people, Vicky Freed from Royal Caribbean. I was with Dondra Ritzenthaler from Celebrity, you know, the senior guys from Carnival. And we've all been on Zoom calls with each other all year. And thank the Lord for technology and for Zoom, because it got us through. But it's a poor substitute, especially for travel people, right? We are
we're people.
Oh my goodness, we're about people and real experiences and fun and excitement, and we're so blessed to have that as our industry, and yet we've been kept apart for 16 months. So I'm so glad that a lot of that anyway appears to be over.
Yes, it does appear to be over. So you had a lot of thoughts about revenge travel. Do you think that your prediction came true?
My predictions were surpassed, literally.
Yes.
I mean, I had finally worked out projections and budgets for 2021 and for 2020 through the depths of the pandemic. And I must be the worst budgeter projector in the world because I am constantly under on my projections. We keep outperforming and I keep recasting the projections every couple of months. You know, as we learn more and we see more, okay, well, we did better than I thought we would do, so I'll up the projection. And then 3 months later, it's like, oh, we did 5 times what I thought we would do. So we have to up the projection again. We ended 2020 as a profitable travel business with, you know, many profitable travel agents with growth in several sectors, and by several measurements, 2020, the pandemic year, we added We added independent travel agents, right? We grew parts of our business, several times over. In the UK, we doubled our sales in 2020, doubled our travel sales in 2020, added 4,000 independent advisors in the UK in 2020. So 2020 for IntelTravel looked very different than almost any other company in the travel industry. I mean, my dear friends are in the cruise industry, and their industry was shut down. I mean, shut down for over a year. So we really, we have to be mindful of other people's experiences during that time. And I don't at all want to sound callous. There was a lot of suffering, and there are people who are still suffering, and we have to remember them. But the truth is that we had a very different year than almost anyone else in the travel industry. Now look to 2021. People are talking about, oh, the market is coming back, and we're returning or whatever. That happened for us in January.
Right.
Okay? We came flying back. We came, like a pie in the face in January, with so many customers and so much business that we have exceeded 2019 sales already. Forget 2020. We don't compare anything to 2020. Go back to our best year in the 30-year history of this company, 2019, right?
Wow.
We already have recovered 100% of the sales volume from 2019, and we will end 2021 at least 15% up over 2019, our best year ever. There's, again, no one else in the travel industry saying things like that.
That's crazy.
So why is that? Why are we so good?
So complex question, but I think I do have an understanding, and it is the model, right? We are not a website. We are not a storefront. We do not have a cold arm's length relationship with travelers, right? We sell based on relationships. And when stress enters the marketplace, the last thing to break are relationships. Okay? A customer who doesn't know you will stop buying from you. Someone who just uses your website will go to another website when stress hits the market, right? Looking for a better deal or looking for some other feature or benefit. But your sister-in-law is not likely to go looking elsewhere to purchase her travel. Well, I don't know your sister-in-law. But you get what I mean. We're built on something so strong, so solid, that even in the worst travel market in the history of the business, right? The worst since, I'll say, at least since World War II. The worst disruption in the travel marketplace since World War II, and our relationship-based marketing sailed us through.
Right.
I have to agree. I was thinking about this before the show. When I became an agent for there were three reasons. I wanted to travel and didn't know how. I wanted to do it how I wanted to do it. And I wanted personal attention to learn. And I think that's what IntelTravel brings to us, is we get that individual interaction if we want that, and we can choose what we want to do. No one tells us the quota, no one tells us what we need to book, what we need to do. It's our personal choice.
Yeah.
Right.
And I do think, you mentioned about learning and education. this came up so many times last week in Miami while I was meeting with industry executives, and that is that we educate agents like nobody else does. Our events are the best. Our in-person events were spectacular. And as I said, larger than any other events in the industry. But also, when we had to pivot to virtual events, first of all, we were already there. We've been doing webinars since there were webinars. We've been leveraging technology as an early adopter all for our entire history. It's in our name. Intella is technology and telecommunications. That's always been part of our.
Oh no!
What's that? Did you lose me?
I definitely think that the training is a major part of everything, because just like IntelTravel is big on learning, big on training, superior on training, you know, it helps everybody. And if it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business, like IntelTravel is 30 years old, there's always something new to learn every single day. The fact that IntelTravel focuses on the education and the training, it just makes it that much better. It increases the relationships, because if I'm able to tell my client, you know, which I am, and I'm on vacation, but I'm able to tell my clients, okay, this is what's happening with these flights. Don't be alarmed. But as soon as I find out, I'll let you know. You know, being able to do that and being taught, you know, the correct way to handle it, the correct way to do it, and, you know, go forward. That's what helps everything. Because there are people out there that I did not book, and they're calling and they're texting, what's going on with the airline? Do you know something? Well, this is what I know, but I don't know for sure, because it could be hearsay. I have a person in Vegas, I have a person in Houston, and this is what they're saying. And all I can tell you is, if your flight is canceled, then say this, and they will help you.
Right.
It makes a difference.
Definitely.
And if I didn't book that travel, which I didn't, then I will the next time, because I was able to help them this time when they needed the help. And they didn't have to call a 1-800 number and wait 3 business days for a supervisor to call them back or anything like that. That's what makes a big difference.
And let's talk about that as a lesson from the last year. All of the customers that did need help, and the ones who bought their travel at a big box store or on a website, you know, they're the ones with the nightmare stories from the past 16 months. And the surveys are telling us, and we see it in the kinds of customers that we're getting in now, where more than half of our customers are new to us now, right? So that's because people had such a rough time the last year and a half, and there was nobody to help them, you know? So yeah, you can go it alone, and you can try to do it yourself, or you can search for the most discounted dollar, but if you don't have the service and you don't have the reputable company to fight your fight for you, you know, you're going to be one of those people waiting weeks for a refund, months even, you know, and we see it in the surveys. People are saying, I'm going to book more travel in the next year than I normally would, but I'm going to book it through a travel agent. We're seeing that from more than 2/3 of people. I've seen surveys say that 77% of travelers responded that they will use a travel advisor now from now on. That's huge. We haven't had that in decades in our industry. This is our time. This is our opportunity now.
Yes,
I think people have learned, though. I think through this pandemic, people have learned that it's not just the cheap trip; it's the value, it's the experience, it's the extras that make it more memorable. So they're looking more for that than they are for the cheap trip that like they used to be.
Sure, agree.
So that makes me wonder, why? Well, how? What made you think of this idea 30 years ago? We're not giving away your age, by the way.
Yeah, I started when I was 5. So the idea of what we called at that time outside agents was an existing idea in the industry, but what it meant was that if there was a storefront travel agency, they might have one or two people who worked outside the store, basically referring customers back to the store. They were like business development agents, if you will. And so it was a known phenomenon but it was, onesie, twosie associated with some agencies. The deregulation of our industry in the 70s and into the 80s is really what opened the door for us. Now, you didn't have to be licensed. You didn't have to be appointed by the airlines to sell travel, which was the old system. But deregulation said anyone could sell travel. If the suppliers are willing to pay you a commission, you're allowed to sell travel. Now, some states came in with some seller of travel registrations and stuff, but that was the basic idea, that anyone could sell travel. That was a deregulated industry. So we took what was a small seed of this outside agent role, and we said, what if you design an agency to support nothing but outside agents? What if we had a huge network of agents working from home? You didn't have to have a office, a storefront anymore with a safe to keep the ticket stock in, which was the old requirement, right? And bonding and licensing and all that, you could work from your home. So what if we had thousands of agents working from their home in every state in the United States, funneling business back to a centralized operations center? And we gave it a shot. And it took off from the first year. It took off. We knew we had hit on something immediately because people just came flooding in, and the company just grew and grew and grew because it makes so much sense, and because it's such a reasonable business proposition. Now, there have been a lot of companies that came after us and tried to copy our concept and twist it this way or that way. But the part they often got wrong was they made it very expensive, full of costs and hidden costs and whatever. And they allowed these people these independent agents, to dig a big hole, a big investment into a business, and then try to climb out with profits. And our philosophy was always different. If we could get enough people, we didn't have to charge a lot in fees, and we wouldn't let anyone dig this big debt hole. And instead, I wanted to be able to say every IntelTravel agent is profitable, because all you have to do to be profitable as an IntelTravel agent is sell what, 1 or 2 cruises a year.
And then you make money back.
Right. Can you do that? Anybody can do that. Even my wife could do that. I mean,
right now, my daughter is doing that. She's 18 years old. My daughter has booked 2 group cruises at 18 years old.
Right.
It's easy. It's easy. It's very easy to do that, especially right now. Everybody wants on a cruise. The cruise move, they want on.
Right.
So, I think the model
after that is gravy. And you work at your own pace.
Right.
You're an entrepreneur. You own your own business. You're the CEO of your own travel business. So you set your own pace. What's right for you? How much time do you have to dedicate? Is this a second or third pursuit of yours? Or is it a full-time, plan A for you and not a plan B? You set your own pace. So is it 1 sale a month, 1 sale a week, 1 sale a day, whatever it is for you? I always say we're not part-time or full-time, we're right time, this opportunity. We built so much flexibility into it, and you don't find that in other business opportunities. You're not digging yourself a big debt hole. Your time is your own. You can use the tools or not use the tools. You can work with our methods, or you can develop your own. Some of our top selling agents, I mean, I hate to admit it, but some of our top selling agents, never go in their back office, never use the marketing tools. They have their own thing that they've developed, and doing it, they sell more than $1 million a year in travel. And I can rattle off a couple of dozen of them like that.
One of your top 10 is here in Texas, and she's one of our good friends. So one of the top 10, Stephanie Owen, is here in Texas.
Stephanie Owen.
And she's her own model. I mean, she started in the group cruises, and she just went running. I mean, she's phenomenal.
Let me tell you something. I am humbled every day. Each time I learn about a particular agent, about what they're doing, about what they've accomplished, about the methods they've developed on their own, about their marketing creativity, about their smarts. I have the opportunity to interview agents all the time for our own interview shows and our own marketing purposes. And I'm always like, wow. I mean, sometimes I feel a little inadequate.
Well, we learn from you. You're the model that we model. I do, and I know a lot of the other ambassadors do as well, and not just the ambassadors, but the other agents do as well. I follow your lead. I see all the articles that you do. I see all the learning that you do, because one thing that a lot of people, they have a common misconception. They think that, oh, my business is 30 years old. I don't need to learn anything else. If you feel that way, then you need to learn more than you think, because you never stop. And the fact that you don't, and you don't, pretend that, okay, well, I'm done. I don't need to learn anything. You need to learn from me. And I mean, we do learn from you, but that's one lesson that we do learn, that you don't stop learning.
That's absolutely right. And I'm so thrilled to hear you say it. I learn every day, and the world is changing so much every day that anybody who thinks they're done and they know everything there is to know is just not, is going to be challenged in their business life and just their life. I counsel everyone to stay open to learning every day, to read everything you can read, to attend every continuing education opportunity you can. Brian Tracy, who was a real mentor to me, the motivational speaker and author, once said to me that education is an investment in yourself. How foolish not to invest in yourself.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
Well, and travelers are going to travel no matter what. That's a passion that they have. So when things happen, people contacted me and they just wanted to do something, and they found different things, local, US based. I mean, they just came up with whatever. So
they're ready to go.
We had to jump and learn something different, and it brought us a different way. And in this industry, you can adapt quickly to those kind of things. So
I adapted when the cruise line shut down. Some of my coworkers, some of my peers were like, it's not a cruise. I'm not booking it. I adapted and I went to all inclusive, which is kind of why I'm here, because I learned, a lot about all inclusive, because there were no cruises moving. And so I just moved from one thing to the next. And some of my cruisers turned into all inclusive people.
So that's very interesting. That's very interesting, because it was a topic of conversation last week with some of the cruise line executives. I was telling them that we lost a lot of ground, obviously, in our cruise sales last year, but we grew tremendously in our land-based vacations. So that was clearly a shift. And either the customers were leading it or the agents were leading it, one or the other, right? But everyone shifted over here because the end result was we actually grew in travel sales. So we filled in what we lost in cruise. The question is, will you come back to cruise?
Some of them are coming back. Some of them did not. They did not switch over to all inclusive. They were not. They didn't want that. But the people that were just itching to go, I just explained the difference. And in some ways, all inclusives are better, and in some ways, cruises are better. And so they took it for the time being, and will absolutely go back to being cruisers.
And a new experience. Some people just wanted to go, and so they were okay with a new experience. It's not going to hurt you. You have something new to learn and something different to choose from now. Why not?
Well,
I'm okay
a cruiser.
With a customer. I'm okay with a customer who, cruises this trip and goes to Club Med next trip and cruises the trip after that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then goes to Secrets or Dreams after that. I'm totally okay with that.
I am as well. I did a lot of when the cruising stopped. I did a lot of research on the all inclusives, and Ryu was one of the ones that I did a lot of research on. I met with the BDM of Ryu, Lucero, and we sat down and talked while she was in Houston. And I learned a lot about the Ryu properties, and I was able to use my knowledge to, help some of my people that were just ready to go, but no cruise ships were moving yet. And some of them that were ready to go and wanted to cruise, they are already booked, and they have not left yet, but they are booked.
Well, I think it'll be very interesting couple of months. The early indicators are that, cruise is coming back strong. So
yes.
it is, look, sometimes in business, we have to remind ourselves to look at the fundamentals. We could get sort of high-minded and talk about all kinds of theories, but the fundamentals are that cruise is a very high value travel experience. Everything's included, your room, your food, your entertainment, your activities or whatever. And if you look at the per diem, the daily cost of that is very hard to beat on land, right? Because you could be looking at, a fairly luxury experience with all of that included for probably what it would cost you just to buy dinner, on a land vacation, like $150 a day or whatever the cost is. So it's a high value, high satisfaction, right? People come back with really high marks, high repeat customer. So I think cruise will be okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't think cruising is ever going anywhere.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now we're looking
ready to get on a cruise.
Alaska. My son called me tonight wanting, Mom, what about Alaska? Okay.
Now look at that.
I actually thought about Alaska.
Look at that. We live in we've lived through a historic moment. First of all, last year, the entire Alaska cruise season gone, right? And you have to think about these businesses and people in Alaska and how devastating that was to them, how much they rely on cruise for their economy. And this year it was happening again. And then in a historic move, the government, the Congress comes together, bipartisan, can you imagine? And agrees to suspend a law that's been on the federal books since the 19th century, right? That requires these ships foreign flagged ships. So none of these ships are U.S. ships, really. They're foreign flagged in the Bahamas or Liberia, or wherever. And so they're not allowed to cruise from one domestic port to another domestic port in the U.S. without stopping at an international port in between. That's why all of these Alaska cruises that leave from Seattle have to stop in Vancouver, right? And with Canada not being open to cruise, it made the Alaska cruise season impossible until the government comes together, and the government of Alaska and the federal government, and says, we're going to suspend the Jones Act. That's amazing. Never been done before. And now we have a season in Alaska.
Oh, wow.
Ships are sailing in Alaska right now. So
yeah, Lisa, I'm learning a lot too. I didn't know that. I just knew that all of a sudden we can cruise to Alaska now.
Alaska
so I'm
again.
over on Princess trying to get my Commodore refreshed. so I can
I
go
was
to
just
Alaska.
talking about that tonight, about getting my Commodore refreshed.
So I'm waiting for it to load because I did one, but there's another one. So I'm waiting for it to load. It said it should load by October, so I'm ready for that. But I actually am open to Alaska. Melissa's been trying to get me to go, and I'm like, I just don't do the cold. I don't want to do that. But I'm actually open to it, and I'm open to a lot more things now than I was before. I guess because I took them for granted that they were there. And now I'm just like, I'm open to a lot more things, and I wanna go and do more things.
how about all the new opportunity? I mean, it really is this time of opportunity. All the cruise ships, the new cruise ships that were scheduled to come out over the last 16 months and got held up purposely, most of them not released, right? And now they're all coming out. So all of a sudden, we have new cruise ships, we have new cruise lines, right? We have Virgin, we have Atlas, we have these new cruise lines that are starting up now, and we have all this new inventory, all these new ships to experience. You know, we just launched Carnival Mardi Gras last weekend. You know, incredible new ship with the only roller coaster at sea.
We were watching Adolfo this week on it.
I quipped to Adolfo that, you know, the last 16 months were a roller coaster. I don't know if we need another one.
It definitely was a fluid situation.
That word.
But don't you feel tested? I feel tested. I feel proven from these 16 months, right? I mean, I feel like I can survive anything. I mean, not good. I'm not challenging anything, but I was really proud. I was really proud of the company, of our agents, the resilience, the creativity, the ability to pivot like that, the optimism. You know, in the UK, they're still suffering from some lockdown situations, and the vaccine is not as advanced in terms of distribution as it is in the US. But even there, agents are optimistic, and they're out there marketing and selling, and you know, that's you just kind of marvel at that and respect it so much.
So what is do you know exactly how many IntelTravel agents we have
in total? Yes. So we have I usually know it down to the person, but I would say now in our partnership with Planet Marketing, we have over 72,000 dependent.
Wow.
agents.
Ever think it would do that? Did you ever think it would be that?
You know, I have seen network marketing companies sort of explode and roll up hundreds of thousands of people, but they also tend to implode after that too, right? This has been a responsible, steady, managed growth, and it is an incredible partnership between Planet and IntelTravel for a lot of reasons, but that's one of them. We didn't run at Donald Bradley and we didn't run out there and say, gimme, you know, all the money, all the people, all the, it has been an organic growth, a solid kind of foundation built on foundation. That's why when this pandemic hit, we didn't see some massive exodus of people. We did not, you know, my projection was wrong, but we did not see that. And I think it's largely because of the culture that Donald Bradley and the Planet team have built, right?
Absolutely.
You know, he does not go out and bring in people from other companies that don't fit the philosophy and culture of planning. I don't know if you guys realize that, but
I do.
It's relationship based. I mean, yeah. I think that just says it for all of it. I think that's also one of IntelTravel's word I want to use, attractions, is I can go to your website and I can see myself. I don't see a huge company. I don't see a corporation. I see individuals succeeding.
Yeah,
is what I see.
That's right.
Transparency.
Yes, and so you can see yourself there. If you have a dream, you can see yourself growing there, and that's what's important to a lot of people. They want to see themselves fitting in and succeeding.
Yeah. Well, I want to tell you guys why I see it's different, but we're going to take a really quick commercial break. And then when we come back, I'll tell you what I see that's different. And I know it's a little different, but I'll tell you. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this really quick commercial break.
Are you looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle but have less than perfect credit? Look no further than Mi Amigo Motors, offering in-house financing to help you build or reestablish your credit. All vehicles are put through a multi-point inspection, and their award-winning customer service and on-site service center will make your buying experience stress-free. I know you got your stimulus check and it's tax refund season, so stop by Mi Amigo Motors today at 9729 Long Point Road or give them a call at 832-548-5927 to reserve your appointment for their VIP approval. Again, that's 832-548-5927. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you. This show was sponsored in part by
And we are back. Thank you so much for hanging with us. And thank you so much for watching. And
nationwide. For more information, visit www.flatfeecreditandtax.com. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Now we're back.
Now we're back. So what makes it different for me is, like I said, the transparency. When I started this business, I didn't know anything about travel. I was broke, for one. I had to save my bonus check to start. And Melissa kept telling me, she was like, you're going to get paid when you take the trip. And I'm like, that just doesn't make sense to me, Melissa. It doesn't make sense. How do you do that? How does that happen? And I was watching her do it. Like, she actually was going and taking the trip and she was earning the money back. And if me, a person that's never done anything like this before, that has never traveled before because I simply couldn't afford to, if in 6 years I could go from that person, and the person who is not going to get in front of any room, cannot train anybody because I don't know anything, go in front of Dreammaker and train 250 agents. That's why it's that. It's because it lets you know that any person can do this if you actually do it. There's nothing stopping you from doing it but you. And that's what makes everything different for me. And I tell everybody, because if I can do it, then you can do it.
I agree with you there. I agree with you. I was in the same situation. I had not traveled, and now my children have traveled. And to me, that's a change in society. I mean, there's so many more, I don't know, people around me, other people, other families have been able to do things that they couldn't do before because of a business like this. I mean,
that's amazing.
It makes me cry because I came from being a single mom and my kids never experiencing anything to being world travelers now. And that's,
don't start your crap, Melissa. I have on lashes.
I can't help it. It is. I mean, my kids call me, where are we going next? I mean, I know my kids are grown now, but now it changes the way their children will be raised when they start having kids because of what they've experienced based on a business model. I mean, to me, that's just mind-blowing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I definitely want to say thank you for that, Mr. Ferrara, because if you didn't come up with this idea, then I mean, if you would have told me 6 years ago that this is what we would be doing, I would laugh at you, especially, just up and saying, you know what, my husband is turning 40. We're going to go spend 4 days in Cabo. And then when I go home, I'm going to get paid for it. You cannot beat that, so kudos to you for that model, for this company, for the integrity, for every single thing, for the training, for the experiences. for all of it.
Thank you. And of course, it's not meaningful without you and without all of you and without all of the agents out there. I mean, I could sit here in my living room and say what a great company I have all by myself, and I find myself mildly amusing, but it really it doesn't work without all of you. So it really is a blessing, wonderful blessing.
Definitely.
And I want to thank you for your service too as an ambassador. That's really important. You give of your time, it's volunteer work, and you're doing it for one reason, which is to help other people be more successful.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I guess if we have time for maybe one more question, I have one more question for you. So where do you see IntelTravel in the next year? Are there any new things coming up?
Let's give us a new projection.
New projection.
There is a lot new coming up. Our Atoll licensing in the UK, which is driving the new shopping cart technology, which was required to get that licensing. So we have, you will have the ability to take different trip components and drop them into a shopping cart and then settle the whole trip with one credit card transaction.
That's awesome.
So all of that's built already, being reviewed by Atoll right now, and will roll out not only in the UK, but in the US. There are new training and testing for agents to make sure that new agents are fully trained before they begin trading as advisors. So we've been moving in that direction with different levels of requirements and different we have great training technology. I mean, really no one does what we do with automated testing and the whole bit. And now we're kind of putting a bow on it all and making sure that new agents complete all that before they start selling. That will help a lot with compliance and the things that ambassadors are trying to teach out there. We have new products, new supplier partnerships and new products. Got some big announcements coming in the next couple of weeks about that, really big. And and we're currently running an incredible comeback program where we've made it possible for anyone who has fallen off over the last 5 years, even if they quit, even if they canceled, right? We're telling them, so we've grown so much together over the last 5 years. It's time to come back and take another look, and we won't charge you any penalties, and you won't have to pay to start up again. All you do is start paying your monthly fee. That's it. Yes. That's it. So it's really like, it's when the
my
IRS...
phone's been buzzing.
She has.
I think of it as when the IRS announces, a tax amnesty day. Right. That's what it's like. And everyone's come running to get in before that changes, right? So that's going on. I mean, really, there's so much. I can't, there's some new tools available, a new marketing system in CRM with what we call it, reminders for travel insurance and final payment on cruises and so on, all built into the system. So you can run your whole business from this CRM. So that's coming out now. Another big one from a customer service and issue point of view is a window into any open issues you may have as an advisor with IntelTravel, where you can see exactly where that issue stands. That a request has been sent to Hertz, and
oh my gosh, that would be
and you'll be able to go into your back office and just look up the status of any issue you have with IntelTravel and get a real-time update. So that's a big technology and AI project that's been going on for quite some time and is now coming out. So
oh my gosh,
look, the biggest thing is that the world, in the next year, the world has come back to travel. So it's
Yes.
all about opportunity. How much of it do you want? You know, that's what the next year is about. You write your own check. If you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to take the time, the world is your oyster in a way that we haven't seen in the travel industry in decades. So
that is awesome, and we're so thankful for that. Thank you for every single thing that you do. We really appreciate you being here with us tonight. Can you tell our viewers how they can find you?
Sure. You can invite me to dinner, or
he's a foodie, guys.
Yeah,
definitely a foodie. We see his posts.
I never miss a dinner invitation. Come to any of our training events. You'll usually find me. Watch for updates on Facebook Lives. We have one coming up actually in a week or two, where I do an industry wrap-up, try to give you the new. We've been doing it throughout the pandemic, trying to communicate with our agents and keep you informed and help guide you through this time. So there's one coming up in a week or so, I believe. So check the Facebook account all the time, the official IntelTravel Departure Lounge for advisors. There's so much going on there. Of course, keep in touch with your ambassadors. Hopefully you know an ambassador at IntelTravel. I know one or two. And they are a font of knowledge, and they're running events and keeping us informed all the time. Come to the webinars, read the emails. You know, you don't have to read every email 100%. I always say this. Just glance at it. That's all I'm asking. Glance at it. Is this interesting to you? Is it germane to you? Does it have value for you? If not, you know, fine. Right. But what I hate to hear is that I don't look at them, because you know what? We don't spam anybody. Right. Every one of those emails is designed to have value for our agents. So don't miss out on the value.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to Travel Talk Tuesday. We will see you next Tuesday. And everybody be safe, be happy, and travel.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.